I love being an entrepreneur and hosting this top 2.5% global show to bring you authentic talks with successful founders of companies and brands. My entrepreneurial journey started after I was left for dead. Let's learn the impactful journey of today's guest now.
During that 120-day time frame that you fix and flip that house, and yeah, you might make 40 grand. But if you took $100,000 and leveraged some hard money in there and did three in the same window, right? I mean, the finance piece of that 120 days is probably only going to be, 8 grand. So now all of a sudden that $40,000 deal only became a $32,000 deal because of the finance piece, but you did three of them over the 120 days and made $96,000 instead of $40,000, right? So that's that leverage model that.
We've often heard that you have to get the first one, start with one. Well, from one, today's guest took off and running because at one point he has this big accomplishment of flipping 3,000 houses in 1 year. I mean, unbelievable. He's got a educational platform. He's got a real estate investment company that's bought over 10,000 properties. We're going to learn how to scale today, but we're also going to have him teach us how to start as well. Chris, thank you so much for joining us here on That Entrepreneur Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always fun to jump on these things.
But we have some good news I just learned behind the scenes we're going to talk about today when we get to the scaling part of the show. But where are you streaming in from today, Chris?
I'm in good old Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I was born and raised way before this town was, as big as it is today. So,
All right. Well, anyone in that area, especially, you got a new resource coming your way right here on That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for continuing to tune in and help this show reach a top 2.5% global ranking. We can look to keep going, and that all starts with courageous guests that come on like today's to share their story, not just the sexy wins, but how we got there. We're going to learn all that and more. I want to show love to our show partner, John Ford, and his empathy card set, his empathy app in the App Store. Head to empathyset.com because as entrepreneurs, we need to remember to take care of our mental health too. And I gave a little preview before, but Chris started investing in Phoenix area back in 99 when he purchased his first home. So we're going to learn all about how I mentioned he got to that big 3,000 houses in 1 year. He stays busy, but how he's able to stay afloat by buying and selling 30 to 40 properties a month. But before we can get into that, we got to start back at the basics. Let's go back to 1999. Why did you know you wanted to be in this field?
I wish I had this cool story that I had this mindset and I was like an entrepreneur, and it wasn't really that. It was more of the actions of the tech downturn. I went to school here. I graduated with a math and computer science degree, went into IT manager. Then the tech downturn before the financial crisis in 99, got laid off twice in a year. So that was kind of the catalyst. It's like, all right, well, hey, Chris, come to the conference room. Here's your check. We threw on an extra couple weeks. Have a nice life. See ya. Oh, the security guy is going to walk you to your desk and make sure you don't say anything or do anything on the way out. So, after a couple of those, I was just like, what could I do? And actually, between the first one and the second one, I got my real estate license. And so I was like, okay, this real estate gig is like something I could do. I can control it my own. I can choose how hard I work or when I work. And obviously, that's just obviously staying consistent and all that stuff as after you learn to be an entrepreneur that keep going, right? So
Walk us through that acquisition in 1999, because that started, typically I don't have just a realtor or a real estate professional on the show, but you are someone who's built this little enterprise out there, this mega situation. I mean, I'm still blown away by your success, but what did you learn from your first purchase that maybe you wish you knew?
this is back in 99. I'm what's called a property wholesaler now. Then I was just, okay, I was an IT guy, got laid off twice. I still went back and called the recruiter and said, hey, don't have a job. Can you find me a job? Ended up getting another job at Phillips Petroleum just as a consultant, getting paid like $100 an hour, just doing some work for them. So I got my real estate license. I drove somebody around for 4 weeks, and they called me on week 5 while I was out of town and said, hey, you're out of town. I called another agent. They did the deal for me. I'm like, all right, no more buyers for me. And then I got a listing, and I was able to put it on the market. 2 weeks later, contract. 4 weeks later, 6 weeks total, I got a check. I'm like, okay, I like that. This I don't like. So then I was like, I'm not a sales guy. I'm not going to go into the living room and be like, okay, I'm your guy. Like, hey, this is it. So I'm like, how do I create listings without being the pitchy guy in the living room? And I'm just like, I'll just buy it. So I went to the courthouse steps on my first house in 99. I bought it in an age restricted area. But mistake number one, it had a big $5,000 HOA transfer fee that I didn't know about. Mistake number two. So I made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, I still made like, I don't know, 16, 17,000. That was in December of 99. I bought a couple more in January. And anyway, all three of them that close in basically in March. And I made like 60 grand. And I'm like, hey, this is enough. I'm no longer working. I quit the computer job. I'm going full steam ahead. And then I'm networking, and they're like, what do you mean you buy at the courthouse steps? Nobody buys at the courthouse steps. That's like for the mafia guys, right? So I'm like, hey, I'll get you one. You want one? Oh, yeah, I can buy 1-2 Main Street worth 140 for like 100. I'll sell it to you for like 103 and bring the 3,000 and $100 bills, and, I'll just transfer the title to you. Then the next thing I know, I'm wholesaling properties in 2000 before there was any gurus out there on any of this stuff, and I'm just slinging houses. So you get cold calls. So
That's awesome. And using 3,000 here again, that's adding up and allowing you to continue to add to your portfolio. Did you envision this when you had that first acquisition, that this is what it would turn into?
no, I literally was just thought I'd be this fix and flipper, but then I realized that there was this, like I said, this is before any of the YouTube channels or TV shows or anything. So everybody else was like, I want to do that. Like, what do you mean I was getting paid $100 an hour. Like, everybody's like, what do you mean you quit $100 an hour job? Like, this is 99. Like, that's pretty good pay, right? $4,000 a week. So yeah, I'm like, no, I like this real estate stuff. So I started selling. Next thing I'm doing, I'm selling 3 a week. Then I'm selling 5 a week. Then actually what happened is I started lending money on the process too. Like, well, where do you guys get their money? And I was borrowing money at 18%. So a guy called me and said, hey, I see you're borrowing from this guy. He goes, I'll let you have the money at 12%. You can lend it to your customer at 8%. You can make the 6% spread. I was like, now I'm a hard money lender. So, and then just kind of grew. And the guy that I was partnered with said, hey, I'd like to just make you my partner because you're growing really fast. Let's just combine this together. You bring the guy that's going to give you the $10 million. You'll throw it in. He had like $20 million. Let's just pull it all together. And next thing you know, we had in 2003, we had a $25 million line of credit with Wells Fargo that went to a $100 million line of credit with Wells Fargo, cruising along, crushing it, then financial crisis and reset all the way back to zero. So,
Well, you rebounded and you never gave up. And I love how that, and I put that here for the show notes, you evolved into this one-stop shop. Slowly but surely, you're now able to take care of everything, kind of eliminating some competition.
yeah, so like that was kind of the thing. The customers at the door, they're buying. Actually, we're going to do 71 houses this month. Your notes are a little old. We used to do 30 to 40, but we're going to do 71 this month. But yeah, the customer comes to us to buy the fix and flip house. And then we just say, hey, if you're not paying all cash, we can do the financing for you. Now it's not terrible like it was at 18% when I started. It's a lot of the banks have started lending money in this space. So it's gotten a little cheaper. It's between, 12 and 13%. We charge like a $950 setup fee and off you go.
Well, it seems like you got your systems in place, which is super important for us entrepreneurs. Let's talk about some systems you have in place as an entrepreneur that maybe can relate to all industries.
Obviously the CRM, that's huge. That's your lifeline, right? So especially on the acquisition side, right? You're paying for that. You're either, working hard for the lead. If you're just starting out, you're doing your cold calling, you're door knocking, however you're getting it done, or you're paying for that lead, whether it's mail, PPC, PPL, all the different social media. So, obviously it's got to go into your CRM, follow-up systems, drip campaigns, email drip campaigns, text message drip campaigns, ringless voicemails, the whole.
Who do you use for your CRM?
I just use a REI Black Book. It's kind of, they built it out for like a real estate company. So it's got all contact comes in. Maybe they filled out a form. We called back. They didn't answer, right? We called back 3 times that day as part of the cadence, right? And then, okay, didn't get a hold of them. We're going to call them back 3 times tomorrow, but we're also going to drag them into this 15-day follow-up where they're going to get a ringless voicemail, a text message, an email, just like, you filled out a form, so let's talk.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And that's great. Having the information brought to you, you make yourself available, they fill it out, does a lot of the work for you. I absolutely love that. Now, I love to ask if someone wants to get into wholesaling, you've inspired them now with your growth, your evolution from one flip to now your wholesaler. What is the first things they should start to do? What are some of the first steps they need to be successful in that way?
Well, it's great about the wholesale business, and that's why it's launched, and that's why there's so many gurus out there, right? Is it doesn't take a lot of cash. Like I said, you can just spend your own time doing some cold calling, jumping on social media, door knocking. Obviously, you're going to want to work in your local area, right? Because real estate's local. But then, once you get a house under contract, you get a 10-day inspection period, and then you can basically try to wholesale that property in that 10-day inspection period, so you don't really have any risk in the deal. And wholesale contracts, the average wholesale contract nationwide, I think it's like $25,000. Little front end work, get a $25,000 check. Don't go buy a nice car. Go take that $25,000, put it into some marketing money, and then have the leads just keep coming in, right?
Well, I love how you're educating so much right now. And that's what I love when my guests do come on. But you also have a whole real estate education platform just for flips. You teach people to do all these things. What inspired you to get that started?
I was with a partner of a guy that I'd known for a long time. He's like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna get into this coaching stuff. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give it a try." And it's kind of fun watching guys that, I've had guys that come out of corporate America like I did, but they didn't get fired. Like they just are laid off. I guess not fired, laid off in a downturn. I've been able to help them, go from the corporate world into this same space. I've helped young kids. My son went to University of Arizona, and I didn't know what he was going to do. I mean, he was a C student in high school at best, and a C student in college at best. And then he came out, and he's like, I'm going to go work over here for a little bit. And he did that for a little bit, and he's like, I think I like this wholesaling game. And he's launched, and his success has been awesome. And then his friends around him, and one of his buddies was like a CPA at Ernst and Young, straight out of U of A, and making really good money. And he's like, no, that looks way more. I get to set my own schedule. I can work. I still got to work hard, but I'm not like doing this, the tax year thing in April and, working 12-hour days and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's I definitely benefit being able to construct your own schedule. It's one of my main pluses why I'm in this field as far as the freedom, right? For me, it was never just about money because I got a taste of that with my finance degrees. I thought the corner office with the job title was what, right? My MBA, my finance, I got this. This was it. But I was really unfulfilled. And for me, I'm okay with working the hours, but I don't have to work them in that
Window.
I don't have to sit in traffic. God bless, like my parents who sit in traffic and they go back and forth. Like that's just the norm, like every day for their schedule. Now I had that opportunity where my life experiences led me to start writing, start podcasting, and I can't really imagine going back to that structure. I mean, I start at 4 a.m. every day. That's my thing. I'm at my desk by 4 Monday to Friday and Sunday. I can't imagine going back to the rat race. It wasn't for me. It's for some people. I can't succeed that way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we work any less. We probably work more, right? We just got to work. We got to pick our schedule that we get it. And we want to take a time out and take a day off. Like we get to choose when we take the time out and take the day off, right?
And it's very, very important, especially as a mental health thing when I was in corporate where you have to perform and be this, that, check all these boxes. You have to ask permission to use the restroom and all those things. But this is not a conversation on the downside of corporate. While many people listening on probably can resonate with us for having gone through this now into here, we're willing to work 80 hours instead of 40 to do it on our own terms. And you've been a great inspiration for that. I love to now ask, what's next? You've got this awesome education platform. You've got your business continuing to grow. What are we focusing on?
Yeah, so I was just before here, I manage about $60 million in hard money, but I sell individual notes, right? So, and I'm always out of money. Like I could put out $100 million if I had it. So we're actually going to start a fund. I was literally just with a fund manager, kind of doing the introductory steps in that. So hopefully in 6 to 8 weeks, I'll have a fund up and running to where I can take in smaller amounts. Cause like currently I'm wholesaling notes like I am wholesaling houses. I don't commingle people's funds. So if I have a $300,000 note, I have to wholesale it to somebody that has $300,000 liquid at the time. Whereas a fund, I can have a guy put in 100, a guy put in 125. I get 100 of those, and next thing I know, I got 10, $11 million, and then that fund can just do some of the note.
I love the ambition. I look forward to seeing it all come to light. So I'd love to ask this question always as we wrap up towards the end of the shows. If you could sit down with any entrepreneur, dead or alive, that you haven't met yet, haven't picked their brain yet, who would you choose here?
Wow, I've never gotten this one.
You can go anywhere from titans of industry all the way up to present day.
I mean, obviously, Elon is just like on the next planet. I mean, he's not even on. Like, I'm not even on his planet. Like, that guy is just on the next level. So I guess, I mean, obviously, picking his brain would be, if you're gonna shoot for something, go for the top, right?
Earth or in space? What do you mean?
No, I mean, like, he's just on the next planet. But like, I mean, I'm saying if I was gonna pick somebody's brain, I mean, like, that guy is a machine, right? So
Where would the meeting go down if you could choose that too?
let's go up on the in space on one of his SpaceX. Let's go. So I mean, that'd be
I absolutely love it. But something we don't need to ask him and we can ask you right now before we get your contact info everyone's been waiting for. How do you know if your business is right to take on a hard money loan?
well, I'm obviously in the wholesale real estate space. So, like, it's like selling a hot dog and a Coke at the same time, right? So, hard money loans, obviously, you can do on a leverage model, you could do all cash, right? $300,000. If you had $300,000, do one fix and flip. You don't have the hard money during that 120-day time frame that you fix and flip that house. And yeah, you might make 40 grand. But if you took $100,000 and leveraged some hard money in there and did three in the same window, right? I mean, the finance piece of that 120 days is probably only going to be, 8 grand. So now all of a sudden that $40,000 deal only became a $32,000 deal because of the finance piece, but you did three of them over the 120 days and made $96,000 instead of $40,000, right? So that's that leverage model that, I mean, obviously it's a little riskier having a 12% interest rate on an asset, but today, like, rates are 7.5 and 8. It's not the 3% mortgage area anymore.
I absolutely love it. And I don't think we can end the show on a better note than that, but I had to sneak that question in there. Chris, you absolutely crushed it. Congratulations on all your success streaming in from Arizona. Where can we find you online? Where can we keep in the loop about all these great things you have going on?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Chris_Eymann, Facebook too, but like I, maxed out on the Facebook friends and all the stuff. Like, I think the list of people waiting for a friend request are like forever long. So yeah, just at Instagram. And then obviously if you're in the Phoenix or Florida area, we're selling houses there. So it's sellwholesalehouses.com.
And I'm going to go ahead and I got that. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. If you're watching the video or you're live streaming with us, sellwholesalehouses.com. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and this is That Entrepreneur Show. Please remember to subscribe for the next show. And again, we are brought to you by Coming Alive Podcast Production and our friend John Ford at johnford.com. And you can learn more about him at the Empathy Set. I'm looking for his banner. There it is, empathyset.com. Empathy app in the App Store. He does it all. And with that, we're signing off today from Arizona and Florida. Not just today, though. And then Florida with me. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.